You want me to put that on my Tudor?
You're not special. The narcissist believes that he or she is special. Successful, brilliant, talented, better than the people around them. Destined to be feted, admired, or at least ought to be. Operating in an deluded world of grandiosity, expecting people to praise and admire, to give them favours, to always treat them with the admiration and respect that they believe that they ought to receive on a daily basis. Harry's wife is no different. As Empress of Woke, Queen of the world, she believes that everybody should be bowing down to her, that she's powerful, amazing, and brilliant. Yet in an instance of Harry's wife having to yet again bring up the past in order to try and assert control in the now, we have an article from the Daily Mirror which tells us Harry's wife not happy at all when she's told she's not the only powerful woman. The article by Jane Lavender digs up events from a couple of years ago. It commences by explaining Harry's wife's decision to remain at home for son Prince Charles's birthday, instead of travelling to the United Kingdom with husband Harry for King Charles's coronation, has won both praise and criticism from royal fans. Assertion of control by staying in a position of withdrawal. Many have welcomed the Duchess of Sussex's plan to stay out of the limelight, except she's not, of course, because she's written about on a daily basis as a consequence of the repeated distractors, which I've listed numerous occasions. Many have welcomed it as her being selfless, particularly as she'll be making sure her eldest child has a fun time on his birthday. While Prince Harry will be present at the coronation at Westminster Abbey, his visit is believed to be a flying one, with him dashing home to California so he too can join in the celebration for Archie's big day. The couple have returned to the United Kingdom only a handful of times since their shock decision to step down as working royals and set out on their own across the Atlantic. Since then, Harry's wife and Harry have launched their charity Archewell. Harry's wife has hosted her own shitty podcast series, Arsey Wipes, interviewing some of the most famous women on the planet as part of her doing so in order to have a go at all of the labels that have been associated with her during her life. And the couple have starred in their own Shitflix documentary, which was dull as dishwater, telling their jaundiced side of the split from the royal family. Prince Harry has also revealed his memoir, in case you've been living under a rock the last few months. Back in 2020, bringing up the past, after stepping down as senior royals, Harry's wife used her position to relay a passionate message at the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit. Naturally, attendance at something like that is absolutely something that Harry's wife wants and needs, because she believes that she's powerful, that she is one of the most powerful women on the planet. She urged Americans to reject hate speech, whilst then continuing to go on and smear the royal family. Reject misinformation, whilst continuing then to go on and revise history. To reject online negativity, but engender, of course, that people engage in that as a consequence of her behaviours in her strong message. Once again, we see the hypocrisy of Harry's wife, where her facade causes her to say, "You must reject hate speech, misinformation and online negativity, open brackets, but I can engage in all of that because I'm Harry's wife and I'm allowed to do what I want, except I don't actually see that I'm doing those things." Harry's wife said, "If you look back at anything I've said, what ends up being inflammatory is people's interpretation of it." Classic blame shifting. I didn't say inflammatory things, you interpreted them as such, and therefore it's your fault. I didn't say anything controversial, it's you in your jaundiced, bigoted mind that made it controversial. You're the one at fault, not me. That is what Harry's wife is saying. And she continues, "But if you listen to what I actually say, it's not controversial." I think that is the takeaway that I have found, is if you don't listen to all the noise out there, i.e. ignore what people are saying about you, and just focus on living a purpose-driven life, whatever the fuck that is, and knowing what your own moral compass is. Right, so don't listen to the noise, live a purpose-driven life, and know what your own moral compass is. Well, she certainly knows what her own moral compass is. She believes that it's a strong one, where actually it was broken somewhere between the ages of 0 and 9. She added, "There are always going to be naysayers, but at the end of the day, I used to have a quote up in my room, character trait acquisition, fridge magnet platitudes, and it resonates now when you see the vitriol and noise that can be out in the world. It's George O'Keeffe, and it's, I've already settled it for myself, so the flattery and criticism go down the same drain, and I'm quite free." Once again, this demonstrates the utter delusion by which Harry's wife operates, because she's reliant on both flattery and criticism because it's fuel. She basically is saying arrogantly, those things don't bother me. I'm above it all. I've settled whatever it is for myself. You have no impact on me. But that is an out-and-out lie. Because, of course, how did she react when South Park lampooned her? She was described as being hurt, was considering taking legal action. When everybody flatters her, she wants it publicised, and she insists on PR puff pieces doing that very thing. So once again, we see, of course, the hypocrisy of her behaviour by character trait acquiring a quote, which she doesn't even live by. She continues with her nonsense by stating, "The moment you are able to be liberated from all of those other opinions of what you know to be true, then I think it's very easy to live with truth and authenticity. Ugh. And that's how I choose to move through the world." Doesn't even make sense. You're able to be liberated from all those opinions of what you know to be true. But body language expert and psychologist Bruce Durham believes that despite Harry's wife's powerful interview, there were key times during the summit where the Duchess was not happy at all. He claims the first indication was when interviewer Ella McGritt tells the Duchess that she's not the only powerful woman involved in this equation. That, of course, is challenge fuel. Bruce explains she doesn't receive it like that. She receives it as a threat, correct. Up until then, the interviewer is still heaping praise on Harry's wife, pure positive fuel, no threat to control. She does 3 things to let you know her ego is raging, or, in my lexicon, that she's suffering a threat to control. She brushes her hair. See parts passing, why is she always touching her hair? She's reframing herself. She wants to be seen as the powerful woman. Her ego springs to life, or rather, her narcissism as a defense mechanism does so. Then there are a lot of eye blocks. She wants to be the person in the room. Then she tightens her throat. That, of course, is the anxiety, a response caused by her narcissism to motivate her to nullify the threat to control. It's an animalistic reaction. It's a narcissistic reaction. She doesn't like hearing she's not the only powerful woman in the equation. Indeed, it's a threat to control. He then goes on to claim that some of Harry's wife's body language during the interview shows some negativity around what she is saying. Bruce said, she says she's received criticism for being controversial in the past. She's trying to get across that she isn't controversial. Then she goes on to say what she said that's been labelled as controversial. She says, if you look at what I've said, and looks left, so is recollecting. But then there's a series of eye blocks and a lip shrug. This means there is not full positivity. She isn't happy at all. Indeed, you'll be able to actually see in the interview that what's been said is a threat to control, and then that her narcissism creates discomfort in her because of the threat to control, motivating her to then nullify that threat. Harry's wife doesn't like being told that she's not special, because in the deluded world of Harry's wife, she believes that she's the most special person on the planet. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.